Okay, hi everybody, it's Phil here again, trying to get back into something like semi-regular YouTube content, yeah? And look, it's been a really long time since I've done, or it seems like forever, maybe not that long, since I've done anything like a book haul video. So I'm gonna do today a book haul. This is actually will be the first segment in the November 2024 book haul video. And I'm going to try to do it a little bit differently this time. Instead of what I was normally doing was waiting to the very end of the month and then doing this giant thing that took a long time to record, took a long time to edit, all that kind of stuff. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do these little bits that were sort of segments of this as it happens. So this is November book haul. Today is actually November 1st. And I went by the library. You know, I go to the library regularly. The hair is looking, no? Distractions. I just distract myself for no reason. Went to the library for a bunch of other stuff, and you know that they have, or at least in my library, because you've seen these library book hauls, a little section in the front that's the sort of a perpetual sale, and they've got a QR code for the Venmo, boom, Friends of the Library. And today I went click on Venmo for $16. Now, normally books there, paperbacks are $1, adult hardcovers are $2, so I can come out with a lot of books for $16. Today I only got 3 because these were special. So the first thing, I went there and it looked like it was really picked over. I don't know, it looks like they haven't really put new stuff up on the top shelf with all the mass market paperbacks. There's some that I've seen that have been there for like months. And then I spotted one and I thought, what's that? Race to the Moon. I make sure that my glare isn't too bad. Look at this one. Not even Race to the Moon. Race for the Moon by Martin Caidin. Hold that thought if that name is familiar to you. It's already, somebody put it in plastic, but look at the plastic, it's coming off. There's the back, just advertising other books by the same publisher. This is actually a UK edition. The price at 36 shillings net is kind of a dead giveaway. It's got a stamp from a store here, which I can't read. No, Beaumont Aviation Books in London. It was published by William Kimber, also of London. And this book was the copyright is 1959. It probably came out here in the States in 59. And then this edition in 1960 in the UK. So the book is pretty old here. And if you remember, right, the first moon landing was actually in 1969. So this is predating really the beginning of the Apollo program. So this is going back into, so this what this really looks like is a book about how we might get to the moon, what they're working on right now that will lead to human beings, Americans, actually landing on the moon. I think this even predates John F. Kennedy's speech, right, where he promised we're going to do this by the end of the decade, and NASA was like, we're going to go and do who? Huh? And then they did it, which is like insane. But here, this looks really cool. First of all, these old UK, the paper is like cardstock. Amazing, right? Full of groovy line drawings here. One of many U.S. space satellite designs. There's photographs, some nice drawings. This is sort of like what a Mercury capsule is looking like. Still on the drawing boards, I guess, right? Telescope photos of the moon. This is what the moon looks like. And then just other stuff, right? Because they are already launching rockets. Obviously, they're already launching satellites. So this is really, to me, you know me. I'm just a child of the space race, born in 1964, and just grew up on that sense of ever-unfolding adventure. So, of course, this is dated. 64 years is a long time in the history of, crude spaceflight, but fascinating. And also, right, as just a special bonus, it's written by Martin Caidin. Do you remember his name? Do you remember the TV series, The $6 Million Man? Well, I do. And everyone around my age absolutely does as well, right? And if you're not familiar with The $6 Million Man, it was a weekly network TV sci-fi show, really. Kind of a science fiction spy show, which was kind of weird and groovy, but starred Lee Majors, always dashing in a powder blue leisure suit, as astronaut Steve Austin, a man barely alive after a experimental crash like the X-15 or whatever, the early rocket planes and lifting bodies. But we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We can make him better than he was. Better, stronger, faster. And apparently it cost $6 million. So he had these, right, artificial, like the bionic arm and the legs and the eye. So he could have a telescopic eye and he can run like 60 miles an hour. Fantastic. Based on a novel called Cyborg by Martin Caidin, who also wrote a novel called Marooned, which was turned into a movie that was like one of my favorites, and it still totally holds up, by the way. You should go out there and find the movie Marooned, about Apollo astronauts, 3 astronauts, and there's a malfunction and they're in orbit and they can't get down. And they're stuck up there. And they're sort of, ooh, like, how are we going to go get these guys? And what are they going to do? And they start kind of losing it. Definitely not unlike what just recently happened, right, with those 2 astronauts that ended up just kind of chilling on the International Space Station for a minute. But really, the movie was actually really, really good. So Martin Caidin, who also did some writing for my old friends back at TSR, wrote some Buck Rogers stuff for TSR back in the day. And I mean, back really a long time ago. So $10. And at the library, when they think they have something special, it's not just $2. They put a little tag in there and then also a sticker. But because this is plastic, I'll get the sticker off, no problem. I think I might actually ditch this plastic since it's not intact anymore. And I might do something about controlling the condition of the dust jacket myself. But looking at the dust jacket, it looks like it's in great shape. So 1960 vintage, $10, happy to pay for it. Race for the Moon by Martin Caidin. I hope they get there. I just like, I hope they get there. Next. So I've said this before, I have like 2, 3 modern library books with the dust jacket on it. You never see the dust jacket. This one was $5, the 1950 edition. Modern Library number 131 for Jules Bird and other people who get really interested in stuff like that. Look at that, $1.25 in hardcover. So Vanity Fair, William Makepeace Thackeray. What can I tell you about that? I have not yet read it. Is this really the kind of book that Phil goes for? Phil goes for every book, especially ones that smell like that. Although there's a little bit of, people were smoking the tobacco around this. Don't smoke, kids. Don't smoke. Terribly poisonous. Very, very dangerous to you and everybody. So in this one, how do I flip through? You just watch me flip through it and just be, oh, delightful. No, you're not missing anything. There are illustrations in here. Here's one. Look at that. Tremendous. Why not, right? Fun. Modern Library, 1950. The book itself is in terrific shape. I'm going to take it out of this dust jacket. Just be very, very careful. It's got, of course, the Modern Library end papers and then the Modern Library kind of case material there that, my bookshelves downstairs, sort of the main library downstairs, you'll see this kind of Modern Library thing all over the place. It's kind of scattered in there. Almost never with the dust jacket. The dust jacket, not in good shape, will require some care. I'm not going to just throw this back out there. I mean, it should be wrapped in plastic, yeah, to preserve just the coolness of it. It's just great. the giant list of other books in here. Yeah. Modern library, just anything public domain that they could get their hands on. And then publish in not, let's be honest, super high quality books. There's another great illustration there. The binding this has definitely been read, right? It's got that kind of go-go dancer binding problem happening there. That's not unusual for modern library books because they were very, very inexpensively produced, right? This is no different. And I don't care because it was only $5. And who says I'm not going to? This could be one of my favorite books of all time. No? Could it be Vanity Fair? A novel without a hero? Well, let's find out what that looks like, huh? Well, you're going to join me while I put this back on. Oh, so very carefully, even with my shaky, shaky hands. He did it. I think I might just... Oh, I dropped the Martin Caidin book. Disaster. No, it's fine. It's a very paper cover, right, which is a good reason why it's just really falling apart. Getting the sticker off is going to be difficult. I might not even attempt it. I'm feeling like it probably would be better to just wrap this whole darn thing in plastic rather than try to do something to stabilize just the dust jacket, because I think the binding is very loose here in the front. Can you see that? Right. I think maybe if I just bag this so that the whole thing is kept tight and, away from the air, that would probably be the smarter move than trying to just wrap the very, very, already not in good shape dust jacket. Let's put that over here where it won't fall down, because the Martin Caidin book is already kind of semi-wrapped in plastic. That's going to live. This one, I don't want to drop. All right, and then there was only one more. For $1, yes, 1959 vintage. So this is a Pelican book, right, published by Penguin in 1959 in the UK. It's The Greeks by H.D.F. Quito? There he is right there, right? A handsome devil. The Greeks are always the most handsome. The last name, Athens, is probably a dead giveaway, but was when my grandfather came here from Sparta. I'm not kidding. He found in, what was that, 1916, 18, that I'm not going to say Americans couldn't pronounce the name Athanasiades. It was more, I'm sure, like that they wouldn't. So he shortened it to Athens, and that has been our name ever since. Obviously the only name I've ever had. But, grew up with my, father talking about how great it was to be Spartan, how great it was to be Greek, and so why not? And so just to see this sitting there, and then also, these, Pelican books, this might be the only one I have ever seen in my life outside of a Jules Burt video, right? And I'm sure this was in one of his videos. I'm sure I watched one of his Pelican book videos. They just don't make it here. They never made it here. But I have a love of the UKA format book. This is so soft. I wish you could feel this paper cover. And it has that thing that UK publishers sometimes still do. That's just sort of like, it's just like a report. You don't need what's the cover? It says what it is, right? It says that it's got the author's name. It says it's The Greeks, a study of the character and history of an ancient civilization and of the people who created it. Terrific. And then it's got a picture of a pelican. Because all of the Pelican books look exactly the same. They might have been different colors or something. But this is really just the facts, right? It's got the old-fashioned money system that I know no understanding of that at all. But I'm always interested in Greek history. Why not? And how much could Greek history have changed since 1959? And this isn't about, contemporary 1959, what's going on in Greece in the late 50s. This is the history of Greece. So, right away, I was kind of like, ooh, I need that. I got to have that. So I got it. So all three of these books, the moon landing book that fell on the floor, the Greeks, and be careful with the Groovy Modern Library edition of Vanity Fair at the library, $16, totally worth it. Don't sleep on your library. Go to the library. If they have a library sale, buy some stuff. It benefits the friends of the library. This is already longer for 3 books than I wanted it to be. That was November 1st. There's more coming, I'm sure. November 2nd, 2024, continuing the November book haul. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a video every single day, but it just turned out that these 2 books arrived late last night. Well, actually in the afternoon. I picked them up off the front porch at like 12:30 at night, whatever. Kamandi, The Last Boy on Earth. I was going to order the first one, and then there was a second one, and you know how these things, right, these comic book collections kind of appear and then disappear like in a day? So I was just like, what the hell, I'm going to get the whole thing. I bought both of them. These 2 books comprise the first 40 issues of Kamandi, The Last Boy on Earth, by Jack Kirby. And the first 37 issues he both wrote and drew. And then 38, 39, and 40, it was Jerry Conway came in for the writing, and he just drew them. And then Jack Kirby left DC. This was in this period, starting in, I think the series began in September, October of 74, and his run ended somewhere in 1976. This was that period where after he had left Marvel and was starting to do kind of weird stuff over at DC, all of his kind of, very much creator-driven stuff that they let him do over there. Kamandi, as you can see, The Last Boy on Earth. So apparently the editor at DC said, or was trying to get the Planet of the Apes license, couldn't do it. Marvel got it. And he went to Jack Kirby and said, okay, but can you do something kind of like that? So this is the post-apocalyptic world of Kamandi, The Last Boy on Earth. So a few little bit of efforts were put into, in these original, love the Jack Kirby, right? To kind of put Kamandi, or the future that he lives in, into the DC universe. It can be a little clunky, but, right, I don't know. But anyway, as a kid, I had a few issues of this. It was hard to find because I was buying comics from, I love this image, right? First of all, let's go ahead and just straight up reference Planet of the Apes. I think that might have been Kirby saying, like, okay, is that out of your system? Now let me tell my story. But this is, far in the future, the world has descended into, these kind of anthropomorphic animals and stuff. I mean, just like Jack Kirby, right? One of the great geniuses. I'm just going to kind of flip through here, right? All Kirby all the time. I love this. He found a copy right somewhere of The Demon. I read that whole series. That was really cool too. Kirby was just doing some crazy stuff at this time. But there's like a lot of gorilla guys and lion men and tiger guys and oh my gosh, right? So this is, I don't know, what else can I do except to show you the amazing awesomeness of Commandy, the Last Boy on Earth. These great Kirby, right, kind of double splash pages. So what made me all of a sudden decide, oh my, 50 years later, hey, I remember Commandy. That was cool. I'm going to buy both of the collections. I put a Post-it here. I'll get rid of. This is the map of the post-apocalyptic world in which our boy Commandy lives. And somebody went ahead and posted this, or actually posted just this kind of left side of it, if I remember. On Twitter, I saw that and I was like, oh God, that was so awesome. I remember Commandy. That was really cool. And I think the question was, where would you live in this world or whatever? And I responded, hey, it looks like I live in the radiation barrier between the United States of Lions and the Dominion of the Devils, which is bad, I think, for me, right? Because I live in the Seattle area, which would be right around here. And then that started to be one of those fun little Twitter kind of people replying and stuff. And I was just like, man, why didn't I think of this? Like years or decades ago. This is the setting for a Gamma World campaign just done. Right? I mean, just done. And let's be honest, probably there was some, we'll say, inspiration from Commandy in Gamma World. You could just take the original Gamma World rules and just use this map and all of this in incredible source material and just make a Gamma World campaign out of this world. It was looking at the map again, I'm a big lover of fantasy and science fiction maps, that just said, oh, Philly, you gotta just go on Amazon and spend $55 or so, including sales tax and free Prime 2-day shipping, and get both Commandy collections, book 1, book 2, the entire 40-issue Jack Kirby run. It did continue after he left, but I don't know, man, right? This is a Jack Kirby show, and I think once he left, that's pretty much it. I don't know that DC even put out a third book, Jack Kirby's Commandy, the Last Boy on Earth. Exciting. November is shaping up to be pretty cool book haul month. Let's see what the rest of the month brings. The November book haul continues. Today is November 9th, but this actually arrived, this book, on the 8th. It is The Hanging Girl. Please excuse my attempt at pronunciation here, by William D. Pristock. Apologies to the author if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This is a horror novel that I just heard about. Where did I hear about this? But pretty recently, somewhere out there in the world, somewhere out there online, probably on either a YouTube video or, somewhere on social media. It just sounded really interesting. I was, taken by the concept of it. This is obviously an indie book here, right? Lovely. Definitely feels like Create Space, print on demand. I've been really trying to, and I mean literally trying to, putting effort into the idea of buying, which is important for the indie author. It's important for every author. Buying and reading more indie books. And I've also been wanting to read more horror. This is, it was just October, and you can't not get infected by everything all of a sudden is horror. Book looks terrific. It is hard, I know, to do stuff like, suppressing headers if you're not, really, really using expensive and difficult to master, like Adobe InDesign or something like that. It is possible. But, just flipping through it, that's like the only, kind of indie book, oh, it's not as good as whatever gripe I have, and it's of no consequence. Right? Yeah, better to do all of the stuff that's exactly perfectly right, but I'm buying this for the story. So anyway, in November continues The Hanging Girl by William D. Pristock. I'm going with Pristock. Excited to get into this. Yay. November continues. More books by the end of this month, I'm sure. Came in the mail in separate packages on November 14th, 2024. Very excited to have this one here in the bag. Right? I'm not going to take it out. I'm going to leave it in the bag for you. Sorry. This is The World Jones Made by Philip K. Dick in the original Ace Double. You can see on the shelves behind me the bottom half or so. That's just the bottom half of my Ace Double collection. You can see those books there that are kind of blue and white. This is the first publication of this book ever. Yeah. From March of 1953. Loving the Robert E. Schultz cover. I manage my glare as best I can. I'm behind the camera today because I'm just not camera ready. I'm just a mess. I need a haircut and all of that kind of stuff. Whatever. Pardon the tape. This is, and on the other side, this is why Ace Doubles are the greatest things ever. On the other side, Agent of the Unknown by Margaret St. Clair, a really underrated author in her own right. Should be really looking at Margaret St. Clair if you get a chance. Look at that one. A female author and the most macho cover possible. I adore it. Yeah, 1953, March. Ace Double, The World Jones Made. So this is a big thing, right? The Philip K. Dick Ace Doubles actually are a little pricey. This one was just a smidge over $30 all in with shipping and everything. These are really the most expensive paperbacks that I'm buying anyway. And I have almost all of them. A lot of his early novels were published, like this one, for the first time anywhere as part of an Ace Double. I have almost all the rest of them. Let's look at those right now. First up, this is one that I have read, Solar Lottery. This is cool. Just love that cover, right? It's like one guy is on the moon with a rock and he's got the spacesuit on, and the other guy, I guess he's just moon friendly. Are we having trouble focusing on that? That's backed up with The Big Jump. Oh, it's hard to do this with one hand. The Big Jump by Lee Brackett. Next was, this bag is going to get in the way of things, but here we go. We're going to try to keep this short. The Man Who Japed. This one I have read too. This was really just very proto PKD. Everything about who he became as an author is evident here. Absolutely. And then we saw this in a previous video, The Spaceborne. This is not the first time there was a generation ship in science fiction. It was just the first time that those two words were used in conjunction, right? It was actually called a generation ship. Anyway, Man Who Japed by Philip K. Dick. Next up, have not yet read this. That will be rectified soon. The Cosmic Puppets. Tremendous. And on the back is Sargasso of Space by Andrew North. I really feel like there's at least 20 or 90,000 other science fiction books called Sargasso of Space. I think I've read half of them. And then Dr. Futurity. And the cover art, right? Exactly what you would expect Dr. Futurity to look like. Slavers of Space on the other side. John Brunner. Tremendous. And some of these are in phenomenal shape. The new one, The World Jones Made, came to me in tremendously, amazingly good shape. Vulcan's Hammer. Look at that face. The artwork, right? Outstanding. And you can see here, they're not, right, they're bragging about it. First book publication. Philip K. Dick Collectors. Do not open. Oh, what happened? Please ask an employee for assistance. Oh, you know what? I'm going to open it. The Skynappers. John Brunner again on the other side. Obviously a contemporary of Mr. Dick. And then finally The Unteleported Man, which I also have read. It was groovy. Find the question for nonconformity. Find the equation for nonconformity, or else. And on the back of that is Howard L. Corey, The Mind Monsters. We're talking about Philip K. Dick, but we're going to pause for a second to soak up that cover art. You're welcome, YouTube. So those are not all of the Philip K. Dick ace doubles. There's one more that I do not have. I'm going to rectify that as soon as I can as well. It is the 1972 reissue of Dr. Futurity and the Unteleported Man. So 2 P.K. Dick books together. These were reprints, and this is something that the books that you're looking at now behind there are the later ones, and there are a lot of duplicates. So there are a lot of books down there that I have in a different form or an earlier form up above. Obviously, I've got them in release order with the most recent on top, and the first oldest ones on top going to the most recent ones on the bottom, which gets us to, I think, really about the early mid-70s. All right. Also on the 14th, 6 Wakes. I got to really push this back to get this bigger size book. 6 Crew, 1 Ship, 1 Killer, Mur Lafferty. Where did I find this one? Usually, I do these videos and I'm like, I have no idea how this got to me. Where did I buy this? Why did I buy this? So I was watching a video on YouTube by Sci-Fi Scavenger. I will link below, called Space Crimes and Dark Secrets, Sci-Fi's Most Twisted Whodunits. He does a great job recommending 6 Wakes by Mur Lafferty on that video. So I'm going to leave that for him to do, right? You'll see the link below. It's another kind of generation ship thing. I guess a clone crew is awakened from time to time. And in this one, or at some point, a new group of clones is awakened or created, whatever. And they find that the previous shift has all been murdered. And, a story ensues. 6 Wakes by Mur Lafferty. That was November 14th, 2024. Thank you, Sci-Fi Scavenger. So I know you're out there just dying to know what books I bought on November 15th of 2024. So let's just dive right into that. First of all, I went by the library. I like to go by the library. I do a lot of business by the library. And at the front they have that whole big shelf unit of, it's kind of ongoing sale, and you hit the QR code for Venmo and you walk out for $1 with a copy of The Outback Stars by Sandra McDonald. I know nothing about this. It turns out it's the first of a trilogy, which is okay by me, because this will go into the random pile of mass market paperbacks, and when I get to it, if I like it, I'll keep going, right? Just looks really cool. This is Tor, science fiction. And this is the thing, I know nothing about it. It was $1, and I thought, ooh, like sci-fi goodness. Have you read this? Do you have opinions? Comments are open below. The Outback Stars. All right, so I tried to read Perdido Street Station by China Mieville, and I think I just wasn't in the headspace for it. There was something about it, I just couldn't keep going. And I hate doing that. I don't like to talk about it anyway in public, because look, not every book is going to hit everybody. And when I saw this, I thought, is that what my problem was? Was it me? It's not you, China Mieville, it's me. And so I saw this, and I was like, for $1, maybe I'll just, give him another chance, because what the hell? And only after I brought it home did I find out, then found it out, that this is actually a sequel to Perdido Street Station. So to read this, I feel like I have to go back to the book that I DNF'd, but maybe I should, because I know a lot of people just love him. That book came highly recommended when it was, I heard it described, or wherever I read about it when I first bought it, Perdido Street Station, that this is exactly the book for me, right? It's definitely something I would like, but I just could not get there with it. So now I don't know what to do, because this doesn't give me a fresh start with Mr. Mieville. I mean, I paid $1 for it, so and again, that $1 goes to the Friends of the Library, so it's not even like, somebody took that in profit or something, right? I gave $1 to a good cause. I have to think about this. This one you need to talk to me about on the comments. China Mieville, Perdido Street Station. Do I give it another chance? Was I right to DNF it? I don't know. Don't be like that, right? We're not beating up on authors here, ever. Do I keep this? Right, go back and... I don't know. But I have this. It's not going anywhere for a little while. I will have to make a decision. This was one... I love it when I get to the library sale and there's a book that has been on my to buy list, right? My wish list. This is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. What can I say? Oh, they put the little yellow sticker on it. Can we take it off? Or do we leave it? I'm starting to think I want to leave the stickers on, but oh well, I just took it off. I love these because they come right off. This material and this glue is exactly what Half Price Books needs to use on theirs. Anyway, on their price stickers. What do I need to say about this book? Is this the one that started it all, right? The original dark academia thing. It's talked about just a lot all the time. It's talked about in our current, this is November's Fantasy Authors Handbook Goodreads group read, yeah, How Novels Work by John Mullen, which I am reading now. I'm getting there. As a bookmark, I'm using my ticket from the Eiffel Tower experience in Vegas. Anyway, so it's mentioned in there examples of such and so on and such like. So Donna Tartt, The Secret History. I will read this. When exactly? I don't know. And then I saw this one. I'm not like necessarily Mr. Super Western fan, but I also do every once in a while love a good category Western. I saw this. This is an all-new collection of classic adventure tales. So these might not necessarily be, the sort of straight-up genre Westerns that Louis L'Amour was famous for. But it, it's kind of unresistible, right? Because I like adventure tales. Who doesn't like classic adventure tales? Let's go on an adventure together, Louis L'Amour. Off the Mangrove Coast. Let's see if we can see what the stories are inside. No, contents. Fighters Should Be Hungry. Love that title. Right away. I mean, it's your move. Off the Mangrove Coast. The Cross and the Candle. The Diamond of Jeru. Secret of Silver Springs. That definitely sounds very westerny. The Unexpected Corpse. Dynamite. The Rounds Don't Matter. Time of Terror, and Afterword. Oh, well, Afterword is, right. But a nice little package here. Who published this? What are we looking at? Bantam. It's got the blue dot from the library. Get that one. Oh, no more blue dots. Oh, it's a disease that I have. This is what happens when you don't get the blue dot vaccine. Nope. Okay, that was 2024, the 15th of November, or was it? Oh, no, wait. Oh, that was the library portion. There's still more. This I finally ordered, and it is just tragic that I've gone this far long without it. Help me, because I'm not going to be able to hold this up with one hand for long. The Chicago Manual of Style, number 18. If you're writing, and especially if you're editing, you have no choice but to have a copy of this. And I know that if you are, somebody who studied journalism and you've been, had the AP style guide ingrained into you, I get it. If you, were studying essentially any branch of science and you're using the APA style guide, and that's been what, right, your brain has been taught to write like that. If you switch to fiction, or narrative nonfiction, memoir, etc., This is the book you absolutely must have. It's definitely not something, I mean, you have to be a level of like grammar nerd to just sort of sit and curl up with this on a, cold November afternoon. But it is the absolute essential reference guide. You really should be buying this as they come out because things do change, right? And this is going to be different from 17. This is my well-worn copy here that is finally going to be replaced of the 16th edition. I never take the dust jacket off of books and throw them away, but I tend to with this because this is something that is right behind my desk on a shelf with other reference books, books about writing and so on. You can see I put little notes in there for things that I look up on the fairly regular. This is just, it's got every tiny little detail of what to capitalize and what not, what to put in italics and what to put in quotes. It's got just everything you need. You can see how thick it is. It's heavy. It has a strange kind of, so it has this big index, right, that you would look up what you're looking for. And it'll give you this kind of funny number, right? A number, then point something. And rather than a page, you're not looking for the page there. You're looking for those numbers, right? Section 8.34, honorifics, right? This will tell you, even if you're writing fantasy, how do you handle titles? I refer to this, right? And I refer authors I work with to this rule over and over and over again. It's funny that I happen to just randomly flip to that page. But it's just got everything. Everything. The Chicago Manual of Style, listen, it's $60. Okay? So this is not something that, I mean, it's expensive, right? $60 for any book is a lot of money. But if you're serious about writing, it is really the cheapest small business startup you can possibly imagine. You do not have to rent an office space. You don't have warehouse, right? Right? You don't have, stock or anything like that. You don't have to warehouse parts. You do have to buy the Chicago Manual of Style, and let's be honest, you do also have to have a Microsoft Office, or at least just Word. I don't know if they even sell that separately. Subscription. That's going to cost you $60 whenever these happen to come out. And then Office, I think I pay like $60, $70 a year. That could be, right, assuming you have a computer anyway, right? You can find pens out there for free, little notebooks and stuff like that for cheap. These might be the only two absolutely must spend expenses for your small business as an author of fiction. Fiction, narrative, nonfiction, and memoir. The Chicago Manual of Style, non-optional reference book. That was November 15th. One book came in November 23rd. In the midst of the triple bomb cyclone, which just ripped through my neighborhood. I know triple bomb cyclone sounds silly. It was not when you experience it at all. But book hauls move on, people. This one, Out, by Natsuo Kirino. This came recommended, I believe it was on Blue Sky. It must have been on Blue Sky. Somebody was talking about what books would you, I think this is probably blocking my microphone. It doesn't matter. Let's move stuff around. I'm going to keep talking. Probably on Blue Sky, somebody was saying, which Haruki Murakami books would you recommend to somebody who has never read Murakami? And I'm like a Murakami fanboy. So this was mentioned, like, oh yeah, and don't forget this, right? And so that was enough for me, right? Where do I come across books? Somebody says, ooh, it belongs in a category with this amazing author. That's enough. This is Out Natsuo Kirino, Japanese author. This was originally published in Japan in 1997. This is the copy that I have is the 28th printing in Vintage International from January of 2005 originally. So this is still going, you know. Really sort of this important kind of Japanese feminist thriller that I just, you know, again, all you had to do was recommend it in the same breath as Haruki Murakami, and I'm 100% in on out. So what I did right there is called humor, and you're welcome. November 25th, 2024, I had to go to the dentist. Oh, ouch. I'm all right. But on the way back, I was way out there in Woodinville, if that means anything to anybody. On my way back, sort of in between the dentist and home, was half-price books that I go to a lot in Redmond, so I went there. Oh, no. I went there, and I bought some stuff. This is going to be pretty cool. This one's a little bit, you know, I see old science fiction fantasy books, and I'm just like, oh, what a lovely book that is. This is The Wildlings of Westron by David J. Lake. Daw with a nicely still yellow spine, hey? Watch out for that glare. He's working on it. This is the first printing from June 1977. Probably wasn't a lot any more than the first printing. Very colorful, right? George Barr cover. Delightful. Just thought it looked fun, right? For $2. And then, of course, I get it home and find that it's the third book in a trilogy. Oh, just why. Trilogy called Breakout. The first is Walker in the Sky, or Walker on the Sky from 1976. Then The Right Hand of Dextra. Keep it so people can see it, Phil. 1977. So I'll have to wrestle those up in due course. You know, on the next trip to the used bookstore or whatever. The giant collection of series and trilogies still incomplete adds a new neighbor. Thank you, David J. Lake. So speaking of collecting stuff, you know, I've been, you know, because you watch all of my videos and you take notes and you go back and rewatch them and you study them and stuff like that, right? Because I've been slowly collecting the Conan pastiche novels as I happen upon them, right? So today I happened upon Conan the Rebel by, look at this, right? None other than, oh, so glary, none other than Poul Anderson. Terrific, right? Why not? This is the 1981 Bantam edition. Not much to see on the back. Cover, very, you know, groovy. There's Conan. Looking a little trim, but, you know, okay. Cover art by Zoran. His real name, I guess, is Lou Feck, but I don't know. Is that like, when people use a pseudonym like that, is that like dead naming somebody? Zoran is the cover artist. This also has those great interior illustrations by Tim Kirk that you've seen me have fun with. Please let me find one so that this video doesn't go on and on. Oh, you're right. Tremendous. Tremendous. So yeah, these are stuff that you can, you know, just grab with your phone and use as clip art for your D&D campaign, because it's like pictures of like things, like items, right? Look at that guy. Conan the Rebel by Poul Anderson with really cool, just kind of line. Well, that doesn't look like something you want to be locked into. Delightful. Number 6, if you're keeping score. So, okay, someone on BookTube, I don't know who it was, it doesn't matter, who shares my general kind of ambivalence toward Robert A. Heinlein. It's okay to be ambivalent about authors, and in this case, I kind of mean, is he good? Do I like him? Of course, there's no such thing as good, right? Because it's all subjective. So really the question is, do I like his stuff? I like some of his stuff. I've also read some of his stuff where I'm kind of like, anyway, that person who shared that same kind of like, on Heinlein, that's an official word. It's in the dictionary. Recommended this one, right, as one of the good ones. One of his or hers favorite one, whatever. 1971 edition of Citizen of the Galaxy. This, because of that video, the title went on my list, and so, I just go through alphabetical through the, science fiction fantasy section, and I'm like, Citizen of the Galaxy, groovy Davis Meltzer cover. This story was originally serialized in Astounding, of course, from September through December of 1957. But, I don't know. There's in my giant stack of random books, which, you've seen, and I've talked about exhaustively, there are a few other Heinlein titles I have not given up. I did, as a kid, I loved Orphans of the Sky. I don't remember some of the short stories I liked. Some that I did not. I don't know. But I have more Heinlein. I will not give up on Heinlein. We kind of don't, he's one of those authors where you look back and go, that's probably not a guy that I would hang with. But, at least two of my favorite authors, who would be Harlan Ellison and H.P. Lovecraft, probably not guys that I would be like, besties with in real life. They could be a little, Harlan on the prickly side and Lovecraft, right? Heinlein. The history of science fiction includes you no matter what, right? Speaking of which, this one, I don't know, you know what? Sometimes you're at a bookstore and books choose you. It's like going to an animal shelter. You walk in there and some puppy just goes like, yeah. That happens to me in bookstores all the time. Here's one. Wow. Look at this whole thing. And this groovy, like old, really, I think at the time it would be fairly cheaply printed, paperback. The science fiction novel, right? Imagination and Social Criticism. This is edited with an introduction by Basil Davenport. Basil. This is the third paperback printing from 1971. I pay $10 for it. I doubt it's worth any more than that. But I'm not, this is not an investment. I'm actually going to read this. You can see the Cyril Kornbluth memorialized here. C.M. Kornbluth. He died in March of 1958. This book was first published in 1959, so his appearance here is posthumous, which is kind of sad. But what this is a collection of 4, I can be holding this up the whole time, 4 essays, right? Literary criticism focused on science fiction by some really interesting authors here, right? Including our, maybe the uncle who ruins Thanksgiving kind of Heinlein. No, that's not true. That's not fair. Whatever. But Robert Heinlein, there's C.M. Kornbluth, Alfred Bester, who wrote a lot, not just of science fiction, of course, but wrote a lot about science fiction. So not really surprised to see him here. And Robert Bloch. That's a great lineup of really, really smart authors, gentlemen who know what they're talking about. Will I agree or disagree with anything or everything they say in here? Well, that's what books are for. Yeah, to communicate over space and time to strangers. I don't read a lot of literary criticism. I read, really, to be honest, virtually none. But I love the genre. These are authors that I have tremendous respect for. And I just loved it. It was just sitting there, and I just thought, like, oh, yeah, there was no question that I'm buying this. The science fiction novel, Imagination and Social Criticism, originally from 1959. This is the 1971 paperback. And okay, flapped off the shelf. Insisted that I pay $35 for it. Is this, which I have never seen or heard of. This is the Ray Bradbury Companion. Get it together, man. This is professional television. By the science fiction author William F. Nolan. In this, it's 1975. Condition issues, right? But in the hardcover slipcase edition, I think was the only way this came. Published by Gale Research Company in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, right? One of the great American cities, the backbone of American industry. Not known as a publishing town, but here we go, yeah? William F. Nolan, this is a life and career history photo log and comprehensive checklist of writings with facsimiles from Ray Bradbury's unpublished and uncollected work in all media. By William F. Nolan, with an introduction by the man himself, Ray Bradbury. I'm taking it out of the slipcase. And again, this has been around here. 1975 was a long time ago, y'all. So it's been sitting on a shelf. You can see where it's kind of faded on the back, and there's that foxing, which you kind of, I mean, unless somebody put this in some sort of acid-free backing with a plastic bag, it's gonna do this kind of stuff, right? You'll see more conditioning stuff on the edges of the guts. Very simple. Hardcover edition here. Love the printed end papers with covers of Bradbury novels. Let me just sort of flip through this. I literally know nothing about it. I've never heard of it. I am a Ray Bradbury fan from when I was a kid. I went as a youngster, probably, what, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Just was like a Ray Bradbury fanatic. Still have enormous love and respect for everything he's done. Just, what a guy, right? So, I mean, who but me is going to have this and see this? I'm sure that this was not going to sit on the shelves long. But, I mean, there's just pages of, you know, kind of family photos. The life and career of Ray Bradbury. I know you can't see any of this. There's a timeline of his life. I know I'm a giant nerd, that I'm like super excited about this, but so are you if you're even watching this, so just don't. There's other good stuff, like typescripts. Oh man, right? And you can see his little notes that he's written on there, and edits and things. Handwritten stuff. Oh, I hope I can read his handwriting. I'm bad at reading people's handwriting. Sometimes even my own. And, oh, look at that. Right? A page from an old pulp magazine. Build this summer wine for any winter years you may pass through with the amiable wishes of, is it Wadigan's own Ray Bradbury. Look at that, 1998. Dandelion wine. Label from a dandelion wine bottle. Bradbury Vineyards. That's awesome. It's a promotional slip, that thing from Dandelion Wine. One of the few books that I was forced to read in high school that I really, really liked. But, you know, I went in like, Ray Bradbury. Let's go. What else? Oh my gosh, there's just tons and tons and tons of information here. Honors, 1938. Notice of Bradbury's first best selection in May of 1938 for verse. That was from students of the Los Angeles High School during the past year, 1938. Wow. Truck Driver at Midnight by Ray Bradbury is checked off. Tremendous. This is just really, 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 really cool. And it's all like in a timeline that goes here through into the late 60s. Obviously, this book was published in 1975, so it ends there with Bradbury still very much alive and kicking and writing. Wow. The Ray Bradbury Companion by William F. Nolan. Did not know that this existed. It is mine now, forever and ever and ever. If you want one, good luck. But you know it's out there somewhere. Again, I paid $35 for it and was happy to pay that. It is not going on eBay or anything like that. I am keeping the Ray Bradbury Companion to be a companion for me forever. Anyway, this has been November 25th of 2024 onward. So book received on November, it's the 27th, November 27th, 2024. I may have messed up on this one. This may have been a mistake. So I've heard about this here, there, everywhere. And it was on like a Black Friday sale at Amazon, so I thought, like, yeah, just get that, because, you know, I'm constantly, always fascinated by the creative process, always want to learn new stuff. This one's just sort of been out there for a long time, kind of floating around, that I hear about all the time. This is the 30th anniversary edition, so it's been around, and people are loving it for a long time. It's called The Artist's Way, A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity. So here's my issue. This is not an issue for everyone. This is my issue. I didn't see the subtitle when I ordered it, and I may have passed on it because, as we all know, I have no spiritual, right, religious, metaphysical, superstitious component to my life at all. So, but then I thought, you know, I mean, there was some kind of, you know, get in touch with the universe kind of stuff in Rick Rubin's book that I really, really liked and did a whole video on and a blog post, and really recommend everybody check that out. So, you know, I'm not like this strident anti-religious crusader guy at all, right? We all share the same protections of the First Amendment, and will continue to, by the way, for the next 4 years. So everybody try to, you know, proceed with some kind of calm. Comes recommended by, I don't know, the author of Eat, Pray, Love, Anne Lamott, whose book, Bird by Bird, I really, really liked. Martin Scorsese. Look at me. I'm a Martin Scorsese fan. And then, well, Russell Brand probably seemed like a good idea at the time. You know, I mean, sometimes you're like, I got a blurb from this really like popular actor who then completely goes insane. I don't know. That's not a problem for me. You know, she's not in charge of his ongoing mental health. And so here's the thing, right? I'm not like, oh no, she uses the word God in here, so I have to run screaming in the other direction. It's not like that. However, right, it does feel very, very religion heavy. Like, really super religion heavy. And I just kind of skimmed through this thinking, no, it's going to be like the Rick Rubin thing, get in touch with the universe, and, you know, I mean, whatever your definition of the universe is, right? Like the kind of 12-step program thing of a higher power, and you can kind of decide what that is for yourself. Which, again, I think is great for everybody. This one, this one is clearly way more like God-focused, right? There's a page in here, it's page 3, where it lists the basic principles, many of which, you know, I think is terrific. These are terrific things. But then there's Number 3, when we open ourselves to our creativity, we open ourselves to the Creator's creativity within us and our lives. Or are we the creators of the Creator? I worry. We are ourselves creations. Creativity is God's gift to us, using our creativity as our gift back to God. Okay, I mean, again, it's like, sure. But, like, what if there is nobody giving us gifts and nobody to give gifts back to? Does this whole thing then fall apart? Right? When we open ourselves to exploring our creativity, we open ourselves to God. Good, orderly direction. I'm not even sure what she means by that, but I don't think I do that. But then again, I mean, there's probably people who are like, well, yeah, you do, Phil, even if you don't realize it. It's like, okay, I really don't realize it. When we open ourselves, or when we open our creative channel to the Creator, many gentle but powerful changes are to be expected. So if I just can't do that, then when does this book stop being anything, right? And certainly, this isn't, as far as I know, right? I mean, I've paid for the book and there it is. I'm not being asked to move to a compound or anything, right? So, but it definitely feels extremely culty. Very, very nervous about that. And again, not that I'm not going to end up in a compound somewhere. I'm not going to, right? And I don't believe for a second that she's actually expecting that that's going to happen. But there are things in here which feel very, very, very culty, right? Like you have to sign a contract with yourself that you're going to commit to this 12-week program, and then she tells you exactly what to do every week for 12 weeks, which can be really super constructive. And kind of flipping through this, I'm not, you know what I mean? It's not saying like give all your money to the guru, but it kind of feels a little bit like at the end of this you will have found some kind of spiritual salvation, which is just not something I'm in the market for. So I may have bought this, and I don't know. I don't know. This is where I'm going to really require you to be in the comments. Yeah. And I'm the unconvertible guy at my age, so it's okay to, right there on that score. But what I would really love to hear is from somebody who is not, really, really a Christian, religious in general, who read this book, did the 12 weeks, right, got something out of it that didn't feel like I've now adopted whatever religious practice this is, because it feels like a religious practice as much as a creative practice, and I want the creative practice. I don't want the religious practice. Have you read this? Am I crazy? Or I'm not crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. I'm sure I'm not crazy. But am I judging it too harshly? I'm trying not to. Or is this really like, yeah, this is a thing for, Christians, and which is great, right? But I'm not one, so it doesn't feel like this is a book I should have bought. The Artist's Way, A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity by Julia Cameron. The book arrived November 27th, just really the night before Thanksgiving here in the States of 2024. This is one book. Very excited about this. It's brand new, just published. I'm wearing a matching t-shirt that was actually not intentional. This is The band of this name. The name of this band is REM, a biography by Peter Ames Carlin. Okay. Yeah, REM, just one of my favorite bands of all time. All time. Came out when I was in college, their first EP, right? Chronic Town. And right away, I was just on it right away. I was in college, it was like the college radio, darling. They were the college radio darlings back when that was actually kind of a thing. I don't think that still is. But anyway, this is a nice, big, chunky book that is getting some great reviews. I'm not reviews. I adore this band. I know a little bit about them, but really not that much more than a little. So, of course, this is the first edition, first printing, 2024. That's cool. And, it's just, I don't know, it's the story of the band REM and the various members. Look at those young rascals right around my age back in the day, looking very rock starry there. I won't show you all the pictures. Here they are, sort of garage band years and stuff like that. Getting more famous and more put together. Let me tell you my REM story real quick. So just loved them right away. And it turns out that one of the guys in the dorm lived right in the dorm room right next to me. Grew up in Collinsville, Illinois. It's kind of in central Illinois. Tucked closer to St. Louis. And his brother was best friends with Michael Stipe. Or friends anyway with Michael Stipe, like in high school, junior high. When, I guess we'll find out how true this was, but I think it was true. When he lived there, because I don't know if his father was in the Air Force or something. There's an Air Force base there, or around there. And so he knew Michael Stipe as like a teenager, right? Before he went off to college and then met the rest of the guys and formed this band. So, and there was a girl there from, that I knew who was also from there and knew them, or knew Michael Stipe. And so they were doing this college tour right with that first EP, and they were playing in Carbondale. I went to Southern Illinois University, way downstate Illinois, and in the student center in the cafeteria for $3. Phil did not go because I did not have $3. This was 41 years ago, and I carry this. Because apparently the crowd was very, very small, and at least two of them were people that I knew who knew Michael Stipe. I did not go to see them play in the cafeteria of the student center for $3. That's how broke I was as a college student. I could not scrape together $3 American dollars. Anyway, it was the next year that, of course, by then the band had really sort of broken out, or at least a little bit, and they came back to Carbondale and played in the auditorium for $12, which I thankfully did have, so I saw them a year later, and they were fantastic, and I can just say that I saw them in that kind of early stage, but I cannot say that I saw them play in the cafeteria of the student center. The name of that band was REM. I'm a fan. I have to read this book. I wish that I had been at that show, but it doesn't matter. I have kept REM close to me through their music for the last 4 decades. The name of this band is REM. Can't wait to dig into this. Okay. There's only a couple more days left in the month of November. Is this the last one? We will just have to look and find out. Wait and find out. Experience the rest of the month and find out. Oh, goodness gracious me. Right under the wire, November 30th, 2024, a book arrives in the mail. What? Here it is. Ordered from eBay Not in super great condition, but it is in the condition that was pictured, right? So it's not a surprise. This is not bad. This is happy. This is the Book of Robert E. Howard, Volume 1, which I believe there are 2 edited and with notes by Glenn Lord. The Best Stories and Novelettes by the creator of Conan. This is one of those zebra books, right? Zebra. You can see the colophon there. With these great covers that you know I've been collecting because you've seen my previous videos where I got one of these and then showed the other books and talked about all the ones that I still need to get. And I've been kind of looking for these just out in the wild and been finding them. This is first printing February 1976. Yeah. Just some great stuff in here. It's stories that I know that I have read before in other collections, but that doesn't matter. This will sit nicely with my collection. Again, the book is in, shape condition that you would expect from a book this old. The danger exists that as I'm reading this, all of a sudden I'll be overwhelmed by the sudden desire to take up smoking. So far, I have managed to fight that off. Ooh, looks like some even poetry in there from Mr. Howard. Some fun interior illustrations I just caught a glimpse of. I'm going back. You need to be made aware of every detail. This video has to be as long as possible. Look at that shadowy figure. Pretty cool, actually. That's really nice. So yeah, this fits nicely into my collection. These are the other books in the collection. Kind of in reverse order of their being published. This one, I will make sure that that sits in the right order. Yeah, I'm just making sure that there's no, where am I going? I don't know where I am. I don't know where anything is. This is professional television. These are the other Zebra Robert E. Howard books. This is not the complete collection. I still have a few more to go. This is all happening. It is all happening. We're all here. I got a new one. November 30th. There's nothing else coming that I know of in the mail. This was today's mail. So I'm not going out to bookstores and stuff. Today's a work day. It's a Saturday, but it's a work day for me. I think this is it. This will wrap up the November 2024 book haul. It's been a long one. Kind of a good, it's been a good month. Not crazy, right? Not like, oh, I bought this box of 100 books. Some stuff like this, very laser focused. Go on eBay, try to find, one of these titles from the Zero series, collecting those little bits at a time. Library sale, trip to the half-price books, some weird stuff, some cool stuff, some surprises. Anyway, that was November 2024. And listen, as we get into 2025, you will see more videos from me. There will be more content, lots more stuff about writing. I am going to really redouble my efforts on this channel and to sort of get everything together in the entire Fantasy Author's Handbook universe. Join me, stay with me, like, comment, subscribe, all that business, and I will see you at the very least with a December book haul, but no, there will be more videos in between. Thank you for watching. See you soon.